And we are back with another episode of Boss Your Business. I am on my second coffee because I have the queen, the powerhouse, Keenya Kelly today. That woman, I swear, I need a second coffee, and she doesn't even drink coffee. If you haven't not heard about Keenya Kelly, what have you been doing? It's like if you were just even remotely on TikTok, you probably saw her around. Keenya is the CEO of You Branded, a marketing and consulting firm right here in San Diego. Also happens to be one of my besties. And they are where she strategically, let's blame the German for that tongue twister, helps business owners understand the value of marketing their business online and through video. In 2020, Keenya actually decided to learn about TikTok, and we will be talking about more of that process because that was a fun one. As a platform and a way to market her business during the pandemic. And in just 12 short months, Keenya was able to grow her account to over 400,000 followers. And she even helped her clients reach millions. So today, I'm going to be poking Keenya, my gorgeous friend over there, how she made that happen. Because I started out with TikTok. I don't want to go dance. And guys, you're going to learn today that TikTok is not just dancing anymore. It's what you want to make out of it.
Yeah.
Hey, girl. So happy to have you. I'm so excited to have you on.
Hey, girl. Hey, I'm excited to be here.
And my fellow friend, movie Danielle here in San Diego, is watching us live. So, guys, if you ever want to watch live when we are recording the podcast, head over to YouTube, youtube.com/Ask Evie, and you can pop in and ask my guest live questions. Questions like, how did you even get here, Keenya? I know there's a lot of things that were going on, and I'm really curious because I have the feeling I'm even going to learn more. What's your story? How did you get where you are today? How did you discover TikTok, and especially TikTok for business? I'm starting to get to know you better over the last couple of years, learning what you went through for the last couple of years. Yeah, I'm just going to sit back here and get a couple more bits and pieces out of that amazing story that you have to tell my audience.
For sure. So I didn't get my start in like regular business. I actually got started back in 2002 in network marketing. I was in college and someone recruited me. And when you get into network marketing, like if you're going to be really successful at it, you have to learn how to be a leader, how to recruit people, how to train people, how to mentor people. And then they really has like in that particular company, they had us reading a lot of books. And so over the years of me being in network marketing, I started to be like what all the gifts that were on the inside of me started to come out because somebody was cultivating all that. And fast forward, I think back in like 2007 or 8, can't remember what year it was, I launched my first business, which was a hair care business, and it was trade shows. Because as a Black woman, we are trained to, like, from the media standpoint, that our hair is not pretty, right? The way it grows out. And so
I love your hair. I hate. Sorry to jump in here. It's like,
yeah.
I hate that prerogative, that perception is put on you ladies because I freaking love your hair. I don't care if it's, and I hope I use the right wording here. When you got it together and when you got it rolled up to get your curls taken care of, if you have it open, I'm one of those. I'm like, oh my God, I love you.
Thank you. Well, there's the history of slavery and all that type of stuff. And so all the things about Black people were always shunned. Like it's bad, like the hips, the butt, the hair, all the things. And so you have to we had to fit in. And so because of the fitting in, we started putting that chemical on our hair to make our hair straight.
Yeah.
And so fast forward years later, I'm developing this really intimate relationship with God. And one of the things that I believe is that when you start having some type of inward experience, it manifests outwardly. And so suddenly I just decided I wanted to cut off all my hair and see how my hair looked curly. And so I literally went from long hair to very short. I mean, extremely short. I was not confident whatsoever, but we cut it all off. It's called the big chop. And so when we did that, I didn't know how to care for my hair, but I'm a business person. Like it's just a natural thing as a business person. And I got inspired this idea to have convention style trade shows. And so I'd like rented out a convention center and said, I'm going to launch a business, and it exploded. But the kicker was that the way that I see things, I see design, even though I can't design, I can see design. And so over the years, businesses wanted to hire me to teach them how to create great marketing materials and all that. And that was not a business that I had. And so when live stream came out, like Periscope, I got on Periscope just a way to like, market my network marketing business at the time. But it ended up turning into people wanting to hire me as a consultant. And then we launched our first business or like consulting business, and we did consulting and brand design, and we did that for some years. And it wasn't until 2020, at the beginning of the pandemic, I wasn't familiar with what a recession would be like as a business owner. So I was really nervous about, well, what could happen if we go into a recession due to coronavirus, which is what they were calling it. And I started praying, because I'm somebody who prays for everything. And so I was praying to God and asking him for creative strategies for my business. And I heard him tell me to get on TikTok.
And I'm getting goosebumps over here. I'm like, this is why I love this question, because you never know where the answer is gonna go. And it's like how we make decisions, how we get to a certain point. It's like everybody is so different. And I'm gonna have to stalk your Facebook account. I want to see if there's any image with after the big chop where I'm like,
oh, I have it on my phone.
Holy moly. It's like, to me, this is often a situation where it's like, oh hell yeah, I can do that. Suddenly when the hair is off, it's that's how I often perceive it. It's like I don't have the guts to do it. I'm like but I find it so gorgeous often, women after the big chop, where it's like, damn girl. And considering Keenya can pull off anything.
Thank you.
So you got God telling you, go on TikTok. What did you do with that? What was the reaction?
I thought it was the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. I was like, that's insane. That makes no sense to me. And I didn't even know anything about TikTok because nobody was talking about it. I remember my friend Shalene, they did something back in like 2018 called the Baby Shark Challenge. And I was like, I couldn't figure out what was going on, or
great. Now I'm gonna have this stuck in my head.
Yeah. But I was like, I was wrestling with the like, well, that sounds really stupid, but what if this is actually the thing that I'm actually praying for? It doesn't make sense to me, but what if I did it and something actually kind of pops off with it? And so I downloaded the app, and at the time I had some girls living with me, and they were kind of like trying to show me some basics of the app, and we couldn't figure things out. And so I just decided that, okay, like while everybody was fighting about BLM, ALM, George Floyd getting murdered, Trump versus Biden, mask, no mask, and all this stuff, I just decided like, okay, I'm going to learn TikTok, and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to learn every single button. And it was a struggle because there were no tutorials. There was no one teaching it. And then my confidence wasn't there because people were making fun of me, saying that you can't make money on TikTok or whatever. And so I just decided to learn it.
And it's like, especially, quote, back in those days, TikTok was a lot. It was a social platform. It was where you met people, where you did the dancing, where you did the baby shark. And I think with your timing stepping into that for business, you were on the forefront with all of that. I'm like, that's... Heck, I don't know if we can find out, but I'm pretty confident that you are one of the first ones on TikTok using it for business.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm using it for thirst traps, let's be honest. Single in San Diego, gotta do it somehow. But me now being one of the ones stepping into this late, I see the different areas. I'm like, for me more on the personal sense, where I'm not joking, I'm there for thirst traps, having some fun. Where it has evolved into kind of like different areas of TikTok, where people literally, I don't know, it's I'm pulling from the dating information, where it's book talk, where it's a lot of smut
Yeah.
reading that's happening, and you literally have this cluster on TikTok. And the nice
Mhm.
thing to see is that these clusters that I know in my private sector and in my having fun also are starting to appear in the business sense, in the mental health sector. And it is fun to watch for me, to see how people are starting to use TikTok in so many different and diverse areas.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm curious, with you being on the forefront of all of that, and I know you were like, seriously, TikTok? And I'm pretty sure the public reacted pretty much similar. I would
Yeah.
love to hear your experience of growing with TikTok into TikTok business sector, where it becomes more of a not just dancing, but a search engine at this point, a place where people go for information. How was that experience growing with TikTok to it being a platform that it is now?
Honestly, it was awful. And it was awful for a couple different reasons. Number 1, I wasn't a digital marketer. I was a personal branding type of person teaching those types of things. And so when I got onto TikTok and like, first of all, just trying to figure out what was going on. One, I'm 41 years old, but at the time I was like 39 and just feeling super old on the platform, not knowing what was going on. And
Yeah.
then trying to figure out what content's going to work and then creating business content and like crickets, no one saying anything.
Oh.
And then the young people being like, why is this old lady here? Or whatever, you know what I mean? And then just the
Yeah.
features that TikTok just did not have because they didn't need to have it because it was more so like it was younger people that were dancing and singing and all this type of stuff at the time. So there were just things that as a business that TikTok didn't have because they didn't need it. And so it was awful trying to learn it when there were no tutorials from TikTok or whatever. There weren't a whole lot of business people on TikTok at all teaching or anything. And it was like the test of faith, right? Because for me, it was my faith of like, hey, I heard God tell me to do this thing, and it was hard, but I'm really used to doing hard things, unfortunately. But then just slowly watching people start going, oh, this lady, she's an educator. We're gonna listen to her. We're gonna listen to her, and to finally at the end of 2020 deciding that I'm gonna close my agency and I'm gonna focus on TikTok marketing. I love video marketing. I'm very good at it, and that's how we built our audience. I was like, well, this is what we're gonna focus on, and to then watch TikTok reach out to me and go, hey, we see what you're doing, we want you to be part of our TikTok holiday campaign. And I'm like, what? Out of all the people on TikTok, I'm like, me? And then to work with them again where they paid me, and then just to be invited into these backdoor type of meetings and webinars
Mhm.
and experiences, it has been like the ride of my life. I feel like I have like done all these things in my business and growth and personal growth and all that to get to this point to where it's like now I'm teaching TikTok marketing, and then to watch me explode, but also watch the platform ask us how to improve. Like I think it was 3 calls with TikTok, and they were asking us about features on the platform, and to give them our opinions and to watch these things, like all these changes that are happening on TikTok because we gave it to them. It's
Mhm.
like I have never been a part of a company or experience like that where I have the ear of the creator of an
Yeah.
app that I'm teaching about.
Remind me on the time frame. So from the message of, "Hey, you need to do TikTok," to, "Okay, people are actually starting listening." How long did that take?
I would say it probably took a year and a half.
Yeah. That's kind
Yeah.
of the numbers I had in my head. It's like, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and why I'm asking that is because we actually, behind the scenes, before we hit the record button, we're talking about this, where people are like, "Oh my god, you are an overnight success," and it's like, you know, yeah, Keenya, you put the work in. You stuck with it for a year and a half till you actually started to see some serious feedback, some serious engagement, TikTok starting to reach out to you. And I wanted to bring that up because we often forget how much work people put in to get where they're at. You've been in business for a whole bunch of years. I've been in business for a whole bunch of years, guys. You watching and listening, stick with it. Be clear on your message so people know who you are and what you do. Every time I hear TikTok, it's like, you got to talk to Keenya. Period. It's like, she is the TikTok queen. That's just the one you need to talk to. The moment you are able to drill it down to something this simple, things will start to go exactly where you want them to go. So
Yeah.
little off time reminder here for everybody that might be in the rut right now and you're like, why am I doing this? This is why. Stick with it, do your thing. Now, you are quite busy. I know you are growing your team, you're growing your business, you are switching things up a little bit. What are some of the workflows and processes that allow you to do your work, to regularly push out all of those videos, to support your clients and your groups, to work with your team, to work with TikTok? I know there's a whole bunch of brand deals in the making and that are producing right now. How do you make it all happen?
Yeah, so I would definitely say that this has been a huge process. For many years, it was just me and a design team in India. And then when I got into TikTok, it was like I wasn't making any money with it. So I couldn't find myself hiring an assistant because it just
Yeah.
didn't make sense financially. But one of the first people I did hire, I think it was last year, I made my first hire. And it was to a VA. And the downside of that was there were no processes, there were no systems, there were nothing. Everything was in my head. And so it was quite the gruesome process over the last year and some change, trying to pull out everything out of my head and then working with the right VA. Like, we've had lots of different VAs come and go to create standard operating procedures for all the things that we do. And so one of the processes that we created is, like, I do a TikTok 3-day challenge, a TikTok for business challenge, and that leads into people being an opportunity to join our mastermind for learning how to use TikTok to grow their businesses. And so I had to pull out everything in my head of, like, why do we do a challenge? What comes along with a challenge? And the way that I operate is I begin with the end in mind. And that comes from the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And so I go, okay, when the cart closes for my course, what all had to be done for that to happen? And this is really, really, really,
Yep.
really long list of things. What all graphics are needed? What all videos are needed? What all ad copy is needed? What all emails have to be written? And so we have all of that documented out. And it was very intense, very long time. But now we have we have a main SOP, but then we have the SOP for the designer. We have the SOP for the ads team, the SOP for the chatbot team, the SOP for Keenya. You got to shoot all these videos,
Yeah.
the tech team, like all the stuff. And that's just for that. And so then we decided that we were going to really focus on building our YouTube channel. And so I had to learn, one, like, if we're going to do that, how does that make sense for the business? So then we created this massive workflow for YouTube. Like, here's all the videos, here's the thumbnail, but here's the title of the video, the thumbnail, like, image, like, here is a description, and then, like, how are we going to promote it? And, like, so all those, like, flows. But I'm saying this because I know somebody's like, wow, they got it all together. No, we don't. We're like everybody else. I'm like, okay, we just changed. Now we need a whole process for that.
I'm laughing over here because it's like, that's what I teach people. And even in my business, I'm like, Keenya, we got to see it this morning. Nothing is perfect, even in my business, where it's
Yeah.
like tech wasn't nice and the writing wasn't nice and things just went haywire. And I'm like, Keenya is going to think I'm completely insane. I teach people how to do workflows and have everything in order, and I don't. But that's what it is. That's what life is. It's constantly adjusting. It's just How does ClickUp say? Be 1% better every day. Just
Mhm.
really keep working on it. What I often say is start with a process that is your money maker. That's the first thing. Don't try to go all crazy and
Yeah.
do all the SOPs and do all the things. Just use what's there right now, what you can do. Often enough, just pen and paper, and just, how Keenya said, get it out of your head,
Yeah.
because now that you have worked on that and you have worked with your VA on that, you have that repeatable process. You are able to
Mhm.
be like, guys, you know what to do. We got the resources. Now go do your thing as I can do my thing. And I'm assuming life has gotten a little bit easier now with the process all, with certain processes all documented, and you being able to just hand it off, right?
Yeah, like, I find myself looking at Slack sometimes like, "Where is the team?" You know, 'cause, like,
Everything is so
nobody's talking to
quiet.
me, and I'm like, "Oh, they're doing their jobs, that's where they are," but I was
Hmm.
so used to being involved in everything, but it's been amazing, and so then doing that, it helps me go with even more processes. It's like, because my VA, I was like, I'm trying not to be as chaotic, and so I need you, like, you're here to help me stay organized, and so one of our simple things that we had to do was every single time somebody invites me to something, a podcast or whatever, they have to send me a regular invite, and it goes to iCloud and Google Calendar. Right. And so, but what that does is it, like, is one, it notifies my phone and my computer, but also my assistant every single day when she logs into Slack, she says, "You have a meeting at this time, and here's the links." Right. Because I have these things going on, and whatever happened overnight is happening right now. But if everything is in here, my assistant is able to do her job so well that I don't have to think. It was just like yesterday, I was like, what is happening? Because I'm doing a TikTok intensive next Saturday, and I'm like, I haven't worked on like my full agenda or whatever. And whatever we have done so far with me and her, she said, I worked on this today. She had a whole detailed agenda of all the things that I need to cover in this intensive. And I was like, what is this? I didn't assign that to her. And I was like, this is insane. This is why I just gave you a raise without you asking for it. I was like, girl,
Mhm.
this is nuts. But it's only because we have been working on all these processes and things of her, like, seeing how I think and realizing that this gonna make Kenya's life a lot easier if she has this, and then she can edit it. Just changes everything.
And what my podcast listeners don't see right now is I've been smirking and smiling because I've been on the other side of those processes. I'm used to a couple of things where it's like I just pop somebody the right link when something goes wrong in Facebook because they usually have it on their computer. It's there. Now Kenya was like, girl, my social is for social. This goes into email. And I love boundaries like this. I now
Yeah.
know specifically, okay, now that I even know the process behind the scenes, it's like, okay, makes even more sense. It's email, period. My initial reaction was like, okay, she doesn't open up Facebook on her desktop. This is work and not private. But again, now hearing the workflow and the process behind it, it makes complete sense to me. And it makes not only your life easier, it also makes my life easier because I know directly, okay, everything business, any update, any link, even if things go south,
Mhm.
email, so your assistant has the access to it, and it allows you to be more productive and get things
Yeah.
done. Now, I'm curious, the moment things got, quote, easy and quiet,
Mhm.
and things just started to work out and smooth in your business, how did that make you feel?
It made me feel weird. I felt scared, like, are they actually working? Like, I'm paying these people, are they actually working?
Mhm.
Or, like, and but I also said, Kenya, don't go and create chaos. I had to, like, talk to them, don't go and create chaos where there isn't anything, you know? And so you're just having this, like, dialogue or whatever. But then I went like, okay, go look at your list. Maybe they're working on their list. Go work on your list. And it made me go, okay, let me work on my list. But I've started, initially it was like, hey, just checking in. How's everything going? how, and I'm just checking in with each person, and they're like, oh, I'm doing this, and this. And it just made me go, okay, I can trust these people. Cause like no one is in my office. Everybody is in the Philippines, India,
Mm-hmm.
Ukraine, Brazil, Colombia, where they are, you know what I mean? And so it's like, okay, you've got the right people. Go and do your job. Go and do the thing that's going to bring the company in money and yada yada yada. So initially, it made me feel crazy. But then it made me feel peaceful. And then it was just like, this is why I've been doing what I've been doing all these years. And then it also gave me an opportunity to focus on, here's an area that I haven't focused on. Like one area I wasn't focused on is company culture, because
Mm-hmm.
everybody's virtual. And so it gave me this brain space. I think it was 2 weeks ago where I said, oh, I wonder, how can I make company culture better virtually? And I was able to just think about it, post it on social media, and whoosh, people gave me all these ideas for ways to like celebrate my people and all that. And it's because I had the space for it.
And that's one of the things why I asked that question, because my experience was the same way when things started to just work, because you suddenly have repeatable businesses, you suddenly have easy ways to tell your team what they need to do, that you don't even need to tell, because often enough we have recurring tasks, we have general
Mm-hmm.
processes, we have stuff that just goes. And it's like, oh my god, I am not packed to the brim and stressed out and what's happening? And I did the same. The first time that happened to me, it's like I suddenly caught myself creating chaos where I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
so it's nice to hear that I'm not the only one who has that same reaction when it suddenly goes quiet, and it's like,
Mm-mm.
no, that actually means your business is going better and your clients are more happy.
Yeah.
Now, with all of that process and workflows and stuff going on, what are some of the tools that help you make this happen?
Yeah. So we have, well, first of all, we use Slack. Slack is our 100% way we communicate with the team. And we have a main Slack channel, but most communication is happening between me and my assistant, and then she's talking to them. We've had ClickUp for a while, but we finally started actually like using it and implementing it, because to learn any new tool, you have to learn it, then you have to teach it. And so we've been learning how to use ClickUp for all the project management things and keeping things very organized and systematized. Google Drive is everything. It
Yes.
houses everything. We use Dropbox for all video, like for like podcasts and all videos, and
Hmm.
for YouTube and short videos and all that. We put everything in Dropbox because Dropbox that doesn't the file size doesn't shrink. So with Google Drive, if we like put a YouTube video in there, get it edited, and then download it, it's a little distorted. But on Dropbox, it's 100%. It's always the same. So we use Dropbox for that. And I think that's it. I'm sure there's plenty others I can think of.
There's a lot of little tools that are often going on. So
Yeah.
yeah, the main tools, and your tool stack is pretty similar to what I use. I'm like, heck, my audience knows I'm a ClickUp sucker, let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's interesting to hear the whole Google, because we're actually using Google rather than adding Dropbox to the whole
Mm-hmm.
connection. I haven't seen any. I need to dig into that. I'm gonna
It
have to
may have
need to dig into
changed.
that.
It could have changed, but like my experience was always like every time we upload a testimonial for somebody and then re-download it, it was like there was a difference. But
Hmm.
the, it's been a while, so I might be wasting money on Dropbox.
Oh, who knows? Again, it's like you know how that goes. We are
Yeah.
in our tool stack, we're in our processes, we're in our workflows. And if things don't necessarily get pointed out to us, it's like, heck, I'm not saying you are wrong. I'm not saying I'm right. I
Yeah.
don't know. I haven't run into the issue, so we're gonna be double checking and triple checking to make sure we are not losing quality on our videos, because I'm paying too much to get those done.
For sure.
Um, Kenya, I love having you. Kenya also has a freebie for you,
Yes, for sure.
which will be in the description section. The link to that is tiktokforfemalecoaches.com.
We
And
actually
it,
have a brand new one.
oh, I get to share your brand new one.
Yeah, it's actually better. It's much better than that one. Yeah. So it's called 10 TikTok templates, because one of the things we realized is that people are coming to TikTok, but they're like, but what do I create for my business? And
Yes.
so, yes, so we created this PDF file. And when you get the file, it's also like clickable. It takes you to TikTok. And so it's going to give you, here's a sample video, here's a tutorial for this video, click it and recreate this for your business. And there's 10 of those inside of that file. And that way you don't have to think about it.
That's one of my issues where it's like I'm overthinking everything. That's always my issue, where I'm getting way
Mhm.
too granular and I'm way too overthinking everything. It's like, okay, here you go, easy
Yeah.
templates. Do you happen to have that link handy?
Yes, it is KenyaKelly.com/TikTok templates with an S.
Oh, it's slash, and that's all together.
Yep.
TikTok templates, because what we are doing, yes, you're gonna have that all in your description of the podcast and everything, and I just put it into the comments too for everybody that's watching live, so you can grab that. And that's Keenya with 2 E's, by the way. Don't
Yep.
let autocorrect screw that up.
Right.
And maybe some of my audience is gonna join me in this TikTok, getting used to it and getting my business on there. I always feel personally attacked in a good way when Keenya has her videos of, so where are the people that told me you were starting doing TikTok? Yeah, I'm one of those. I'm one of those working on it. I'm always getting stuck in my head, as I mentioned, just trying to make sense of it rather than just doing. So
Yeah.
who's gonna join me? Just do it. I swear. TikTok is, I think, one of the most forgiving platforms actually for beginners to just
Mhm.
start, to just go on video. Don't overthink it. You don't have to over edit. Just keep it
Right.
easy. As I'm calling myself out. Yep. That's how that often happens on our podcast. Gal, thank you so much for joining me. And guys, again, you can find Keenya anywhere on social media as Keenya Kelly. She was lucky enough to get her handle on
Everywhere.
everywhere as Keenya Kelly, double E for the Keenya, as well as literally just KenyaKelly.com. I will plug in all of the links in the description so you easily can click them. Go follow her. Go get your TikTok for business, because she did it. Her clients are doing it. You can do it too.
That's right.
And I'll see you soon for dinner. And
Yes.
everybody else, I'll see you live next Thursday for the next episode of Boss Your Business. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Keenya.
Thank you.